Hey, what is up, guys? This is Lair with another episode of what I'm calling Candid Finance, which is basically, for those who don't know, just I take a business or financial related topic and just kind of give my honest perspective on it, unedited, and, just kind of giving personal stories that kind of relate to whatever I'm talking about. And also, since it's Labor Day weekend for everybody in the United States, just wanted to say happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. Hope, everybody's doing something fun out there, which actually kind of ties into my topic, which is kind of how rest relates to your finances and why it's important. And what I kind of wanted to bring up was basically how there's kind of two different sets of people when I think about it. There's people out there that severely lack motivation as far as, their career goals or their financial goals. And they're just really demotivated. They're kind of unfocused, unorganized. And so what really hurts them there is the lack of motivation, right? So they could benefit from having more motivation. But at least on the plus side, they, at least for the most part, tend to take care of things like, they spend more time with their friends, they spend more time with their family, they spend more time socializing or enjoying life, which is, a fairly great thing. Then on the flip side, you have people who are highly motivated, right? They're very focused, they're energetic, and sometimes that can also be a little bit of a bad thing too, because you're so motivated and focused on what you're doing and trying to achieve, you start to neglect certain things, and there can actually be a financial impact to this. And kind of an example of that would be, let's just say you're very focused on your career goals and you're constantly focused on how you can improve your skill set so you can be better at work. And then what ends up happening is you don't have the time to, look at your budget every single month, or maybe you start to neglect things at home and you're not necessarily taking care of home projects that you need to be taken care of, and there's a financial impact to that as well. So obviously in this case, there actually is a con to having too much motivation and too much focus. And I think a lot of people tend to sometimes fit into that second category of just being too focused on something, and they begin to neglect things like friends or family. And a lot of people have financial goals in mind, typically to, benefit their family or benefit their friends, or, at least most people. I tend to be a little bit of an optimistic person. People have kind of a noble goal of, being able to share great experiences with friends, being able to pay off their debt or buy a house for their, family members or something like that. But yeah, at the same time, we get so focused on these financial goals and our financial career that we begin to neglect them, right? We start talking to our friends less. We may not necessarily stay too much in touch with our family, and we begin to enjoy life a little bit less. And so I kind of think it's a little bit ironic that the thing that's motivating you to stay focused ends up kind of being something you're actually neglecting down the road. And what I personally like to think about is, you got to think about the journey to get there, right? Do you want to end up a millionaire, just an example, and end up having, crushed a whole bunch of people along the way, and basically, kind of a scorched earth type policy, just, anybody that gets in your way, you're going to crush them financially or crush them in the business world or whatever? Or do you want to be have an approach where at the end of it all, you can kind of enjoy it and be proud and glad of what you actually accomplished? And kind of a story to relate to this is I had a friend in college that was very, very focused on not spending any money. And I can kind of sympathize with that as well. And, I have a little bit of a fault too. I'm not necessarily perfect either. When I have a friend or somebody ask me, hey, would you like to do this, go out, whatever, pretty much my first immediate thought is always, well, how much is that going to cost? So like, how much is that restaurant that we're going to go to? What's the average price for, a meal there? But this friend in college that I had was so extreme about it that he literally would not spend any money. And he would even be the type of person to, if we said, hey, you want to go to a movie, the tickets are like $7 or so, he would explicitly say, I'm not only going to go if somebody pays for my ticket because I don't want to spend any money. And, in the short run, it was fine. It was something I was willing to put up with, and our whole group of friends was willing to put up with. But as time passed on, more and more people were less willing to put up with it. And it was just kind of this ironic thing, because he was the type of person that was also very generous as well, like in the sense that he really wanted to have these big financial ambitious goals, because in the end, his end goal was to, be able to provide to his friends and be able to buy nice cars for his friends or different things like that. But the only way to get there was to save at a really, really painful rate. And so I just thought it was kind of ironic, and, a really great example of how we all have these financial goals in our minds, which is a great thing. But at the same time, we don't necessarily want to get there in the wrong way. And, it's obviously a balance, a balancing act. You want to be motivated, but you also want to still, take care of your friends and family. But at the same time, you don't want to be distracted. And so, nobody out there can tell you what that right balance is. You have to determine that for yourself. But it is at least important to acknowledge that it is a balancing act and something we should all strive for. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Just something I've been thinking about as far as how financial goals kind of relate to relaxing every once in a while, because, it's really important for everybody out there to realize why we're all doing this, right? We're all doing it because we're trying to get to a point that we can be financially free so that way we can actually enjoy life. But if it's going to cost, not being able to enjoy life just to get financially free, then it may, not necessarily be worth it in the end. Anyways, that's it for this video. If there's any other topics as far as, candid type finance topics you'd like to talk about, comment down below and let me know your Labor Day weekend plans. I'm curious what everybody else is up to. That's it for this video. Please hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more.